Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the Sikh Youth Show, and today we'll be talking about a really taboo issue which is in the community, which is in our community, Punjabi Sikh community, which is the sexual grooming. And we have a special guest on the show. The guest is going to stay anonymous for her own safety and for our safeguarding reasons. We want to keep her identity protected because of how horrific this case and her journey was. We want her, and goes directly and straight into telling you, the viewers, what the reality of these predators is out there in the UK who target young, vulnerable Sikh girls. Yeah, how difficult it is for our organisation to understand and express that to the Sangat is very difficult to show you what goes on and how it actually affects these young victims. So I'm going to introduce Banji as Miss Kaur. We're going to keep her anonymous, like I said. And she's going to just let you guys know. I'm going to ask her a few simple questions today. So first of all, Banji, welcome to the show. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm going to keep this very short and, take our time with this. So, we want you to let the viewers know how hard it's been, how bad it's been. So people out there who are going through this right now, who have been through this maybe before, can come forward, let us know, get the right support, because you're getting the support. You've been through a hell of a lot. We don't want our other sisters or daughters to go through this. So, Benji, just to let the viewers know, where did it begin?
There were two gangs involved, and the first gang started when I was 10 and a half to 11, and then gradually things got worse and worse, and then when I was 14 onwards, that was when the second gang was involved, and it happened up until I was 18. So it's quite raw. And then Sikh Youth UK, I can't be thankful enough, removed me from that situation, and I'm getting all the support I need now.
Okay. Obviously, it started when you began. It began and started when you were 10 years old. You've told us things about situations which have happened. I want to go into that a little. Obviously, you're getting the support now. You're in a safer environment. You're getting the right support from our team, from our support workers, which is really important. From the people who look after you at your house, from your relationship with your parents changing, things improving slowly. Right now, let's go back to, like you said, when the second gang was involved when you were 14. Let's go back to the first gang when you were 10 years old. What sort of things, horrific things, did they make you do? And, how did it make you feel?
So the second gang, I was a child, so I was in school. I didn't know any different. It involved lots of 6, 7 men older than me in a room, even on school premises. Sometimes they'd lock me in the classroom, older lads, and they'd pressurise me and to do sexual things, and a lot of the time I was raped consecutively, one after the other, and it was actually one of the gang members' sisters that introduced me to them. I wasn't aware at the time. Like I said, I was only like 10 or 11, and then it was a case of emotional blackmail. So you think that the person cares for you, you think that people care for you, but he doesn't. He'll use I can't explain it other than once you're in, it's very difficult to get out. For me, they one thing that they did was turn me against my parents. And it's just when you hear about things like someone, like a girl got raped, but when you're in a room and you have been raped by 6, 7, 8 people at a time, it's hard. Hard's not even a word now. Obviously this is years ago, but I'm in a position where I'm trying to get onto the right path with regards to Sikhi, and I'm so grateful that I have a foster family, Baji and Benji, that are helping me, and I'm also grateful that I've been to other families and they're helping me to connect with myself and also build a relationship with my mum and dad.
It's really important, like you've just said, that the gang tried to turn you against your family.
Hanji.
What sort of ways did they try to do that?
Breaking the relationship between me and my mum and dad was, reflecting on it, the key weapon that they had. They do that by filling my head with nonsense, saying that I didn't need them, showering me in gifts, and then saying that my parents don't do anything for me. It's not until you're trapped in a room with these men that you realise they don't have your back, your mum and dad do.
I know this is difficult for you,
Hanji.
but I just want the viewers to know, you know, the reality. You know, what was the most amount of guys that were in a room that abused you?
18.
18 guys.
Hanji.
And what was that, gang 1 or gang 2?
That was gang 2. That happened at a restaurant, and it was they'd often be the main guy would like sellotape my hands, sellotape my mouth often, and then they'd make me, if I had ate that day, they'd make me sick it up before, so I wasn't allowed to eat, I wasn't allowed to drink, and then the workers there, the waiters, it was almost everyone knew about it, but because I felt like I couldn't talk to my mum and dad because I'd been pushed away from them. It was a case of, you do this, otherwise we'll rape your mum, we'll rape your sister, we will burn your house down. That's the kind of things they would say and do. And it wasn't just one of them. I thought that he had my back, but he didn't. He introduced me to all these men, and I was forced and I was pressurized to do things, and it was just the worst time of my life.
Obviously, threatening your family, going through this abuse. If you resisted, would they, you know, forcefully hurt you?
Beat me.
What kind of stuff would they do?
Like the restaurant, the things they would use, they would heat metal up, and they'd put it on my skin, on my body. One of them, there was a kettle, and it was a metal kettle, and he boiled water and he chucked it at me, and touch wood, none of the water spilt on my body, but there was a massive bruise on my body. And afterwards, when we went on holiday, my mum had seen the scar, and because of how broken the relationship was, I couldn't even turn to my mum about it, because these people make you feel so isolated from the rest of the world. They just play mind games after mind games after mind games. At the beginning, I love you, I want to be there for you, your parents aren't anything, we'll always support you, but that's the trap that put me into that place, the darkest place that I've ever been in.
This was gang 2 doing this in a restaurant, obviously. What about, let's go back to when you were at school and what they did in classrooms. You know, how didn't the teachers be aware of this? What happened at school? Let's go back to school.
The teachers, so when everything happened with Gang 1, I did approach a teacher, and I approached school, and it was a case of, we didn't see it, so it didn't happen. The police, I didn't even get a statement. It was almost like she's she's lying, that like no one would, no one cared. I felt like the incidents used to take place in the classroom, so it was even more hard to speak up about it. And even though that I did, no one, the teachers, the police, like no one believed me. And then it was, I think, several weeks after I had spoken up about it, and I even told them, you know, who they were. Some of the men were like ex-students. Some of them were, I think, 2 of them were in the last year of sixth form.
So sorry to interrupt. So while you were at school,
Hanji.
in a classroom where they would abuse you, was it be one person?
No.
How many?
6 or 7.
And some of them weren't members of the school.
No.
And didn't attend the school.
They didn't. No, there were so many ways to get into the school, and these boys during lunchtime or after school, I would have to stay. They would blackmail me, out of school hours, in school hours, lunchtimes especially, in classrooms. Teachers, there's a part of school that the teachers don't occupy or anything. But even after it took place and the teachers found out and the school found out, nothing was done. One of the men, shall I say, was caught on school property with Class A drugs, and still they didn't believe me, like no one paid attention.
You've been through a lot. Do you feel like the teachers or the police let you down?
They all let me down. Social workers let me down. They turned me against my parents. Police let me down. Everybody let me down apart from Sikh Youth UK, the family that I'm staying with, people that have been there for me, and Mum and Dad and Waiguru.
This abuse that you've been going through, you know it's not your fault. Now you know it's not your fault.
No, Hanji.
You know, it was only a few weeks ago that we were called to speak to you, and you know, within a week, straight away we removed you from your area and put you somewhere in a safe environment. The point I'm trying to get to is, when I first come to speak to you,
Hanji.
you told me that it was only 3 days prior to that the last time you were abused was in a restaurant.
Hanji.
Okay, so for the last 8 years, you've been going through this and kept that to yourself. You've told teachers about certain things when you were younger,
Hanji.
and nobody's caught on to this. The local authorities haven't done anything. Would you ever want to go and press charges against these guys?
In all honesty, I would do that, but only when I have confidence. I'm still trying to get to that place where I can have the strength to do that, and that's why I turn to Bart a lot now. I'll wake up in the morning with Baji and we'll do Japji Sahib, because I feel like when I do have enough strength from Waiguru and I'm in a place where I can say I'm over that, then ideally I would like to.
What other reasons is it that you're holding back? Is it because of the threats they've given you?
Hanji, the threats, the emotional blackmail, it sometimes feels like they had power and control over 8 years of my life. I was an A-grade student. I had a lot of potential going for me, but everything went downhill, and when I did speak up about it, no one was listening.
And now you've got people around you listening.
Hanji.
Obviously, it hasn't been easy, and you know, how important is it for you to be expressing exactly what has been going on? You know, how important is that for you right now to express those feelings?
So before, I just felt isolated from everyone, and now it's important not only for me, but for other girls out there, for other parents, that there's someone there to wipe their tears, because I have to be the strength not only for me but for my family. I need to get through this, and I'm lucky I'm sat here on the sofa with you talking about it, but there's other girls that don't have the opportunity. There's other girls that are in a restaurant with men in a room being raped right now. That's why I'm speaking up.
The The gangs that you're involved in, have you seen other girls there?
I have, yeah.
Do you know of any other girls, and how many that this gang been targeting or abusing?
Obviously, I don't know them personally, but it would be a case of they'd majority of the gangs are employed from a different city, so they'd come in a van, and a lot of the time there would be a number of girls after hours at the restaurant. Then the abuse would take place, sometimes even before then. With me, it was a case of before they had opened the restaurant, I was blackmailed and I was forced to go in there and meet at other places. Otherwise, the threats would come in, otherwise, the abuse would start. And like I said, it's from someone that you'd expect to have your back. I mean, that's what they do. They make you feel like you've got some sort of connection with that person, when really that person's going to just bring poison and leak poison into your life.
Did you feel like you were, let's say, in a relationship? Did they make you feel um, that you were the only one, and that how did they lure you in? How did they get you in?
Um, what they did was lure me in with one of. So it was a case of him sweet talking, him buying me gifts, him saying he'll always be there, making me feel like I was safe. Um, he did pretend that he was Sikh as well.
What sort of you spoke about at school? What sort of how, other than the classroom or the restaurant, have they moved you or taken you about other places? Just let the people.
And
What kind of places have they taken you? How, what have them places been like?
they used to take me all around. Two of the places they wouldn't tell me, but two of the places that I know that they shall I say sold me to, because that's effectively what it was. I was being raped at different places by different men, and they were getting paid for it. He was getting paid for it. Two of the places were Luton and Leicester.
So they took you from your own area and trafficked you around the UK.
And you bit effectively, but I didn't. The thing is, like I said, you're so blinded, you don't even realise. It was only until I started opening up to Baji about this, 2-3 days ago, that he sat me down and he was, look, like, they're trafficking you, like, how can you not see that? But it's almost like you're under a spell. You can't see it until you're out of the situation. And lots of girls don't get out of the situation. It was a day before you came to see me, Baji, that a ticket was booked for me to go to a different country. And in my head it was, it's that everything's great, everything's fine. But no, now I know I was going to be taken out of the country to be sold.
How does that make you feel?
Broken. Because, okay, it's because it's a detrimental effect on everyone. My mum, my dad, my little brother and sister, their kids, not just me. These people are predators preying on girls, but it's affecting their families, everyone that loves and cares for them. They don't love you, they don't care for you. It's the opposite.
What do you think would have happened if you left the country?
I would have never come back. But I only know that now because volunteers from Sikh Youth UK and obviously Baji and Benji and everyone that's been there for me, and my mum and dad have educated me about it. I've actually started listening to them and realised what happened was so wrong. Before then, I couldn't see it. I was in this fantasy world. I was so infatuated with this person when he was selling me to 14, 15, 16 men at a time around the country. And now I look at it and I think, no, I was being used.
How old do you think the oldest guy was that was involved, and how young were some of them?
The oldest one was a granddad, 50s, 60s. It wasn't just one, there was lots. The youngest one, 16, 17.
And
They
they all
don't
knew
care.
each other?
Majority of them. It's their pride, it's their ego. It's what they do best.
And did your family ever understand, or were they aware of any of this that was going on to you?
Mum and Dad had an inkling, but like I say, it's a generation thing. I don't think they never understood, and I'm not the type of person to open up, especially not after everything had happened. So even if they knew snippets of things, I couldn't confide in them properly. And I don't think that without Sikh Youth UK or people around to support me, they would have been able to understand. Even now, after everything's happened, I still struggle and they still struggle to talk about the situation because of how deep it is.
Obviously, it was difficult for you to do this show today, and you've been really, really brave. So I want to thank you for that and commend you. You know how brave and courageous you are for speaking out, letting others know out there what goes on, what actually happened, you know, and the reality of what's going on in the UK. You know, I just want to touch on the system and
Angie.
social services. You know, how have they? You know, you said earlier that they try to put a wedge between you and your family.
Angie.
You know, in what way did they do that? And you know, how supportive are they, and what was going on with
They,
social services?
social services tried to rip my family apart. The guy would beat me black and blue. I would go into school with these bruises, and social services in the school would blame my parents, not him, not the person that was raping me 5 times a week, would blame my parents. It got to the point where the police would come round to my house, and the social worker, in fact, when I did meet up with her, it was a case of, we need to get you away from home. We need to find you somewhere away from your mum and dad. Your mum and dad they're not the best people for you. I think a worker from a different charity linked to social workers also pressurised me into moving away from home. Most of the time, she would also criticise the community and say that I wasn't around the right people, like criticise my culture. And me being me, I was quite naive at the time. I was very close to agreeing with her, to accepting things, but had I not stayed with my family, still things are very bad and fragile as they are, but if mum and dad weren't with me, then I wouldn't even be in this country. I would have gone. I would have been a sex slave.
Obviously, you've heard, you know, stories up and down the country. Did you ever think something like this would have happened to you?
You don't think, because it's always someone's sister, you hear about someone's daughter, but we're all like, we're all the same. I've met so many brothers, and they see me as a younger sister because it happens to so many of us. You never think about it. You never think it's going to be me. It's going to be, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be raped. You just don't think. But you don't think until it's too late.
I want to thank you for coming on today's show. Thank you for speaking out and being that courageous. Really proud of you. Really well done. You have come so far and really brave speaking out. You know, whatever our team's doing, we're going to continue to do, and we'll try our best to carry on supporting you as long as we can. It's really commendable what you've done today to speak and let the viewers and the Sangat know what goes on and the realities. I want to tell the Sangat out there, you know, how difficult it is to sit with young girls like this day in, day out. I've done it. Some of our other Sivildars are doing it day to day. We've got support workers behind the scene doing things, families who are out there taking on young girls like this and supporting them. It's really important that more volunteers come forward, more support is given and attention to this kind of taboo issues which are in our community, you know, the prevent, the intervening and the rehabilitation. All three are vitally as important as each other. Benji spoke out today, and for her to speak out, this is another way of letting you know what goes on, but to prevent it happening, or for other victims to come forward and speak. Any last thoughts you want to give to the viewers out there?
I'm speaking. I'm speaking up because I don't want any of my sisters to go through this. I just want to raise awareness, and I really hope that you take on board what I'm saying, because this person, although you might think he'll care for you and he'll love you, he won't. You'll end up like me, abused for years.
Well, thank you for your time today. Really intense show. Keep looking out for other shows that we'll be doing. I want to thank you, the Sanghas, for carrying on supporting our team. Thank Sikh Channel for always giving a platform to spread the awareness and, you know, let people have a platform to express their feelings, express what's happened to them, and let you guys know what's actually going on and what our community and our projects are doing behind the scenes. Thank you for listening. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Sasani Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sasani, thank you for watching the show, and thank you for watching that special interview with Sikh Youth UK. Sikh Youth UK are doing a fantastic work. As you've seen from that interview for yourself, how they've helped that one victim, and that's just one story. And with me, I've got Deepa Singh from Sikh Youth UK. I want to talk to him about this particular case and all the work that they do across the country. And let's just find out how bad this problem is. And this is exactly why, Sar Sangaji, this is why we chose one of these organizations to be part of the Saka Sarhand project, where we're trying to raise money for this organization so they can hire 3 support workers to help girls like that Benji we just seen now. And there's not one, there's loads. And this is why my humble request to you right now, if you still have a chance to donate, please do. This is where that money is going to go towards. Saka Sarhand is on the screen right now. If no one's picking up the phone at the studio, we could just go on to search Saka Sarhand in Just Giving, and it'll come up, and you can check it out for yourself. We want to get 3 support workers, and now you have seen for yourself why we need these support workers, because the problem out there is huge. So let's introduce Deepa Singh, and let's just get his feedback on this situation also. First of all, Singh, thank you on behalf of all the Sikh Channel viewers, because you're doing fantastic work, because you are out there helping those victims of sexual grooming gangs. And not only that, you're giving them the support and the support that they need. And this is, just explain to the viewers, number one, how this particular case come about, and 2, how many other cases like that are you currently dealing with, and hence why you're asking for the 3 support workers.
First of all, to the Sanghas, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. There's hundreds of these cases, honestly, but support-wise, we do need 3 full-time support workers right now. Is really important because it takes time, effort and dedication to sit with young girls and do this behind-the-scenes work, what goes on, that nobody really knows about. So today, we interviewed a young girl and we brought that forward to you because we wanted you, the Sangha, to realise what goes on. And this case came to us from, obviously, a family who spoke to us, contacted via our team. We went out there within hearing the case and what happened. The girl broke down. She told us everything, and within the week we relocated her, because she had to be relocated within instant. It was horrific to hear that at times there was 18 gang members in a room, abusing this young child. And she was a child, and she still is mentally still young and vulnerable. And people need to realise the situation out there, when we always try to blame the person, but it's not always their fault. They're conditioned to believe that that's what they have to do. And it's really difficult for them to come out of this situation. I'll give another example away from this case. Just today, a young girl so we did a camp today. And after the camp, we supported a Godora camp. After the camp, young girl one of the cases that we're supporting, and one of the young girls, and what happens is when you're trying to support, the perpetrators still try and come back, and they still try and put that wedge between you and the person, or the family and the person, because they don't want anyone pushing them in the right direction, because they want full access and control. And this is what happened to this young girl on the interview we were saying. The girl, you know, was been conditioned to think like this, and it's really wrong, and she's getting a lot of support now, which is good. Everyone's doing this on a voluntary basis, but we could help so many more young girls like that, because it's not their fault that they're caught up in that. Do we blame the parents? Do we blame the child? Or do we actually say for once, yes, it is the perpetrators. They're the ones doing this. They're the criminals in this situation. But just because the crime only came to existence of gang-related grooming in 2005 does not mean it doesn't exist before that. And it doesn't mean just because those certain convictions are the only ones that have happened that there's not gangs out there still doing it and getting away with it day to day. As you heard for yourself, how it's really a taboo issue for the Sikh community, and young girls and families find it really difficult to go and get full reports because they're really in fear maybe, or they're worried, or because it's so taboo that they don't want this getting out in the community. You know, so that's why we kept her identity hidden, obviously, for the interview. But it's so difficult to get that conviction. But that's not my job, buddy. That's the police's job. Right now, we're doing, like sometimes on this gang especially, I was doing behind the scenes, we're finding out who the perpetrators were. We've sat with the girl, she's expressed herself, she's told us in thorough detail, so we've took statements of her. We're doing the police's work, we're doing the CID's work, we're doing the social workers' work and foster carers' work. Is that our role? As Gursikhs, of course it is. But Faraj Banda, those people who are in the community saying they're doing it to do it, but they're not, because the Sikh community has been let down for 40 years. So the point we're getting to is, yes, nobody's going to look after us. Yes, we need our own system. It has to be on a professional basis. We don't want things going to jail. We don't want reactions, but we want support at least at the bare minimum. If nobody wants to do anything at Tikia, at least do the bare minimum and support the victims, the survivors, as we should say it now, because they're not just victims, they're survivors. They're coming out the other end, and they can tell the story. She told the story. Bravely, she told the story. She didn't have to, but she's one brave girl who's told us in detail, and you know what, fair play to her.
So Deepa, just how the song that I'm watching at the moment, right, at this very moment in time, how many live cases are you currently dealing with? Okay,
live cases right now, 15. But before this, I would say there is a lot of aftercare work going on and intervening right now. So there is, whereas families are, this is just on the grooming side. We're not even talking about the alcohol and drugs, where there's hundreds of cases we've got there. But right now, live cases, about 15 that are ongoing, where also we're mentoring and peer supporting around, I would say, nearly 200 people across the UK, from Sevadars across the UK, from all around the Midlands to south to north. So there is a lot going on. We've had people come all the way from Canada this week because they're asking for support. So, you know, we're getting, as an organisation, the word's getting out and going that we're doing a good job, Tikia. But manpower-wise and full-time efforts is very difficult. This is why we are needed. This is why this taboo issue needs full-time attention. It took one of our lads like 5-6 days to write a really great report. And if he was doing that full-time, yeah, we could have reports like that out all the time, you know, showing history, showing stats, making it so professional that people understood from word to word in detail, from past to present to the future, what the aims and objectives are as well. So, you know, reports are really needed. We need literate people, we need professionals on board. Even if you can volunteer, not just the money thing, obviously we need the finances to get support workers, but volunteers are really needed in professional skill set. So if you can dedicate 2-3 hours an evening or 4 or 5 hours a week, let us know, really need it. We have a training day next month, January. To start the year, our Sevadars are doing a training day to make sure that we're on top of all of this, because it is very overloaded. We need all those volunteers that have come and put their names down to come forward and come to our training day on January the 13th. From there, we're going to be training them into so they can go and support these cases and victims as well at the same time.
Excellent.
Just to be peer supporters, mentors. Even if your family's out there and you say, you know what, we can look after a young girl, we don't mind supporting, give us your details. Seriously, there's so many girls that need relocating that could need a bit more attention and have that positive peer support. You would be doing the most amount of seva for us, honestly.
You said that this has been happening for 40 years. So just to clarify that, what do you mean by that?
So from the first case that I know of, that I've sat with a family which was reported that a gang targeted a Sikh girl, was in 1978. That's how far it's gone back. prior to that, I've been told from third hand it has happened, but obviously we haven't been involved in that. I've personally sat with a family who have said in 1978 this happened to them. So, you know, it goes as far as that way back. And, you know, this is when the girl was taken to another country and her passport taken off her, and, you know, potentially it took her a long chakra to ways for her to get back. Some girls have probably never come back.
One thing I want to touch upon, though, very quickly, is important for the viewers to understand. So, you know, we're saying that we need our network, we need our own support team to tackle the situation that we're here dealing with at the moment. You're dealing with 15 live cases.
Yeah.
Those are cases you know about.
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, how can the viewers contact you guys if they know about a case?
Yep.
That's one. I want you to tell the details on that. Secondly, what about the social system that's in place now? Isn't that helping the girls?
Okay, so the social system at the moment, I would say, and the foster caring system, there is a grey area in there which is fully being manipulated. So if you look at the Rotherham reports, social services, police, everyone failed these young girls. Everyone saw the big documentary that BBC put on, no, the drama that BBC put on earlier, and earlier in the year, 3 girls, that was put out. We put a film out, Misused Child. There has been awareness out there visually so people understand how the system has a grey area which is being manipulated. The cases I've worked with, now experience-wise, I can say I've sat in rooms with social workers, how they've manipulated things and tried to divert it somewhere else. Not all of them, so it's not all of them, but there is a very grey area which is being manipulated, and on that note, either people are being politically correct for their own reasons, or they're doing it because they're favoriting within the victims and who the predators are, or they know the predators. Like in Rotherham, I believe the chief inspector and one of the social workers was related to the nephew who was the predator, who was one of the groomers who got convicted. So, you know, there is a very grey area. That's just Rotherham report. I'm saying everywhere, from our experiences, what I've seen is there's a grey area, and that is fully being manipulated. And people know this. I've sat in meetings with officials, they've admitted this, and from there, that is why we say we are working with them, with the management teams and the social services and child services and the councils, but we're saying we need our system, and this is why people are coming to us. Like, I'm Sevadara, I've been blessed to have Seva Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smedik, and it's a leading figure of a Gurdwara in the UK, without a doubt. Why? Why? Because it's got a welfare support team in there. How important is if every Gurdwara had a welfare support team? People come, 100,000 people walk through those doors each year. They come with their problems. They can come and talk to us. I took a young girl to the police station after she had an ordeal in October, I believe, or early November. No, Halloween night, so early November. We took a young girl from university a few weeks ago, and we took her to the police. What I witnessed in the police station, how they dealt with this young girl who's coming to report someone who potentially tried to kidnap her and take her and gang rape her. What I witnessed when our team took her to the police station was her trying to say something confidentially and them speaking in front of everyone. This is why I'm saying it's a failure. I witnessed that myself. If I recorded this and exposed all of this, even the meetings I've sat with social services, if I recorded this and exposed everything, all the Sangat, they're going to think, what the heck's happened here? Is this really what goes on? I could show you that. I don't mind doing that, you know, but we're not here to expose them. What we're saying, there's a grey area that's been manipulated. You know, this is the Sikh community. If you look at all the articles going back over the last few years, when all they're saying is Asian gangs target white girls. Yep. Where's the Sikh girls for 40 years? What, on a thing where we are affected more while we're a smaller community. So when we're targeted, potentially the percentage-wise, it takes more damage. A lot more damage than the white population. A lot more damage happens to the Sikh population because we're a smaller percentage in the UK. When we're targeted, it's more effective because it's going to damage us more because there's less generations happening because they forcefully end up trying to go somewhere else or maybe converted or gang exploited in all different ways. You know, people even do it just for financial gain so they can bully young girls, and we can't tolerate it, but we need to. Obviously, we're sitting with officials, but we've explained this, and they've agreed. So, you know, we're telling the Sangat, support this system because it is working. We are doing a great job, yeah? But we need I'm saying what we need, because that's where we're lacking, and that could bring you, it could take your organisation to a standstill. Whereas we don't want this Siva to be a standstill. You know, before we used to help other communities and bring their daughters home in history, now we have to help our own. That's where the prevent comes in. You know, like the camps. And I'm going to go back to G&G Smedic. Camps at every holidays, interacting the kids and the young youth, stopping them going down these bad roads, letting them know, you know what, you can come to us as a Gurdwara, as a committee. And, you know, so, you know, going back to that, it's really important that we as an organisation are trying to link in as many proactive Gurdwara in the UK, because, and there's not many proactive Gurdwara. There is a few, and I'm not knocking the Gurdwara system. What I'm saying is, you know, we need to be, stronger, but these issues have to be prioritised. Yeah, our 100%. Sisters, Izzat is priority.
100%. Well, one thing that I want you to mention now to the Sangha that's watching right now, if there's anyone out there that needs help, needs support, or knows of a case, how can they get in touch with you? How?
Okay, so we're all over social media, Sikh Youth Birmingham, Sikh Youth UK on Facebook, Instagram Sikh Youth UK, Twitter Sikh Youth UK, Snapchat Sikh Youth UK, WhatsApp, there is the numbers out there, 07761 251 That's our national helpline number. One of the admin team usually answer it. If they don't, you'll get a return call back within as soon as we can. Availability, obviously people are doing this at a voluntary basis at the moment.
This is the key though, isn't it?
If we had a full-time...
If we had that key, if we had that full-time support mechanism to help our girls, help Apani community, then we don't, you know, they don't have to be voluntary. Some of these cases they have to go to, they have to go 2 o'clock in the morning, go and pick up, they have to, I've been there, I've seen it themselves. They've had to go and pick up girls 2 o'clock in the morning up north, bring them down south, away from the grooming gang network. That's so, what do you call it, complex. It's unbelievably complex how they can get one girl in one area and they can still get to her from a different area.
Definitely.
If the grooming gangs are organised, what have we been doing for the past 4 years?
No, but you know what it is? We're too far back, blaming the mum, blaming the dad, blaming the parents, blaming the kid. It's obviously the prevent side is it's our job as a community to do the prevent, not just the families. It's Sada Faraj Banda. But we have to blame the perpetrators. Yeah. And this young girl that we've just interviewed today and that was live on air, 2 gangs, not 1 gang, 2 gangs. That, you know, this is one of the worst cases we can hear of. 2 gangs grooming a young girl who passed her from one gang to another. This is crazy. Crazy, with 18 men in restaurants. You know, we've got as much details, but you know, some of the facts I've got of this girl. Male, 65 years old, male, roughly 50 years old, male, roughly 40 years old, all working in restaurants, all doing... But this is ridiculous. Enough's enough sometimes.
No, 100%. Sasangaji, dekho, assi de beinti ka sade, all we can do is appeal. We can highlight the problem which has been done. We can then highlight the solution which is being done right now. We are highlighting that we need to get organised as a community. We need to help our sisters, our daughters. We need to do it now. Let's not wait another year. Let's do it now. All you have to do today is pick up the phone and donate. The numbers, the staff downstairs, if nobody's picking up, someone will return the call to you tomorrow. But if you don't want to call, you can go onto the Just Giving page. Go directly to the Just Giving page, see in detail what they're asking for and what they're going to get and what we're going to get out of this. If we can get them the 3 support workers, Sasangaji, at the moment we're at 125,000 to £130,000. We need that donations, but we need that community to become stronger. All those projects that are listed are all to do with our community becoming stronger. These voluntary organisations that we've listed on that sheet, if you go into Saka Sarhand project on Just Giving, if you see for yourself, these are all voluntary organisations. With your financial support, with all of us working collectively, they can go onto the next level and become professional outfits where we can have a proper mechanism now grown for them to do the research, to show you the statistics, to show you how bad the problem is. 15 Kuriya Apaniya at the moment are being rehoused in different locations across the country due to these guys and the seva that they do, and that's exactly what it is. Deepe, what else, you know, obviously some of these cases, I want you to tell the Sangata some of the cases that you deal about. Just explain to them how horrific these cases can get. You
know, it can get to a point where they're so conditioned mentally that they think it's normal to do that. You know, like Benji, we just interviewed her, you know, she's conditioned to think that that's normal when it's not. And, you know, it's the way that they manipulate and threaten her family to the points where that she's scared, the family's scared to speak out, you know, and we need that voice. We give the voice to the voiceless, you know. These people are put on pedestals and they're scared. We shouldn't be scared. Everyone's scared of it. We shouldn't be scared of no gang. Our organisation will tackle the gang, we will tackle the system, and we will tackle everything. You know why? Because we'll always carry on being the voice. Why? Because Sikh channel support us. The Gurdwara support us. We always have a platform. Maharaj Kirpa, we always get a platform so we can be their voice and tackle these people head on. We ain't going to shy away from it. We will keep and expose them and say, this is who's doing it, this is why they're doing it, it's for this gain. Yeah, and the point being, it shouldn't just be us doing it, everyone should be doing it. This is our priority. The deep end is that this is our priority. Well, if we save a sister, we save the generation.
That's absolutely bang on saying, smashed it. It is literally that. ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਕੁੜੀ ਬਚਾ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਚਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸਾਸੰਗ ਜੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਸਵੰਦ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਜਾਣ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਬਚਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਬਚਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਾਸੰਗ ਜੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਗੈਂਗ these gangs operate and they ਜਾਣ ਕੇ target or deliberately target young girls. Younger girls are impressionable. They're reasonably impressionable, Bachariyan. Yeah. So what they do is they prey on that vulnerability, and when they've got them in their traps, and if they've got pictures or videos of these young girls, that young child doesn't know what to do. She's so scared that video footage or that picture going out, she doesn't know what to do. So she gets into their claws. They take over, and she doesn't know how to get out. What does she do? But this is why we as a community need to come together. First of all, prevent it, and if it's happening, intervene, and then with these guys, rehabilitation. The rehabilitation takes much longer. It could take 6 months to several years on one case. I know, I've seen it, I've dealt with it, I've been with organizations that have been doing it for the past 15, 17 years. We've seen it firsthand. We're telling you, when they've targeted a young 10-year-old girl, like that case there, when you've targeted her and you've got her to do sexual activity at that young age, and you've already triggered her to do all these things at that young age, and not only that, she's finished, man. You destroyed the young girl, man. They've destroyed it. And not only that, what they'll do to make sure that they could keep tabs on her, to make sure that she stays in their clutches, like Baji said, they put a wedge in between her and the family and her support network, her peers. So between her friends, they'll put a wedge.
The ideas and some of the tariqe that they use is to put the wedge between the family and the perpetrator by making her, showing her a little good time, and then showing her a lifestyle away from her, showering her with gifts, because her family don't give her gifts sometimes. So you get showered with a gift, and then you think, okay, he's nice to me. Then they manipulate the system so bad to say, to the extent that they get the young girl sometimes to put allegations on the family. Yeah? So that's one way. Second one is to say that they're forcing me to get married. That's another one being used lately. Okay? So these sort of ones, nobody forcefully does anything nowadays. Whatever boys and girls want, they get from their parents. You know what I mean? After a few, you know, a bit of dakka and whatnot, most of the time kids get what they want. Yeah. Yeah? They put these allegations on there, and that's where the system come in. And then they're saying, oh no, red alert, take them into care. In care, they've got full access to them.
Are you listening to this? You hear that? That was the tariqa that they're using. These gangs are so complex and they're so advanced, the people that are getting victim and groomed here, that they know how to manipulate the system in their favor. They're manipulating the system in their favor. This is why it is so important for us to have our own system so we can control what happens to those girls. We know what's happening, when they need the support, where they are, where these gangs are coming from, what's going on. We start baking the databases. We start creating the systems so we control our that community.
Definitely. And if there is a slight issue within the family, why does she have to go to a non-Sikh household in foster care? Why can't she go to a Sikh foster carer? So we need more foster carers out there. That's a really important. If you're happy to do foster care, and I know a few people who do, really good. But we need Sikh foster carers. So when there is maybe an issue within, which is very minimum, it doesn't happen all the time. When there is, why does she have to go to a non-Sikh house? put her in a Sikh house where she still gets to keep her dharam and culture. She don't adopt another one. Yeah, because we're adopting everyone else's cultures as it is, as you can look at when it's our weddings and that. We're doing everything other than Sikhi sometimes nowadays. You know, so that's not a dig at no one. I'm just saying what goes on in front of my eyes. What we're trying to say is, in the system, we need to be the system at the same time. So professionally, we need social workers, we need foster carers right now. That's really important, who understand this issue, who understand the complexity when there is an issue. Like when we've sat professionally around the table with the authorities, they've heard our concerns and they've agreed. You know, when someone agrees to your concerns, then they know there's a problem that they can't deal with. And they know that this is complex. We showed them, when we sat with the system, we showed them articles going back when I was at college in the late 90s. That were handed out at my college. And then now, how is those articles used now? They're online on Instagram. They're online through prachar from other communities, doing it, targeting, specifically, see, trying to downgrade Sikhs online, you know, openly. There was one pracharaka, I can't name him, obviously, but he wasn't from a Sikh background, and he put, I lost my virginity to a Sikh girl as his main marketing thing to demonize our sisters. On his main thing. And then when we messaged his page, and a couple of the other orgs did, and we challenged him straight online, we said, we'll take that down. Within minutes, he changed it to, I lost my virginity to a non-Muslim girl. That's what he put on his Instagram. And, you know, it's just to show the lengths they go to demonize our sisters, to make them feel and condition them to feel like we are easy, or that's all we have to amount to.
It can happen at anyone's household, at any age, and if it's happening like you saw in that half an hour documentary, interview with Deepa Paji, with that young victim, she was first started by the grooming gang, targeted at the age of 10 and a half. That's that's primary school.
And who lured her in? Who lured her in? The female friends.
You see, it's happening out there. So we have to support it. Remember that one donation. You can ring right now. Studios are still open. You can ring. Go on to Just Giving. Get on there, donate, and tell others. Facebook, share it, Instagram it, whatever. Just get it out there. Let everyone know what's happening. Let's get them the 3 support workers they need. I want to thank all those people that donated so far. I want to thank Deepa Paji and his Sevadars, the teams that are doing the work out there. I want to thank the viewers that have donated and supporting this. So please continue to do so, and we'll be back with you guys, hopefully, if not tomorrow, in the next couple of days, as a thank you for the Sakasans project. At the moment, we're at £121,000 roughly on the page. That should have gone to way beyond that by now, for everyone watching the show right now. Thank you for everyone watching. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.